the lonely rabbit of the valley, the only one existing there, went searching for the others, down there by the green of woods. He went searching in the forest for the hole without an end, where deep below the cold hard dirt he dreamed where all the others went. It is the kingdom of the rabbits, he knew without a glimpse of doubt, for each night laying in the silent valley he listened to the whispered shouts. So one day the lonesome rabbit set his eyes onto the trees, when he began his dreadful journey under the gloom of night without a star. So he began his horrible adventure, jumping through the fields of darnel grass, with a heart so full of wishes not to be alone at last. But then he saw with fear and shiver by the tall grass dancing in the wind the consequent result of a frightful crime, the rotten corpse of another rabbit. A scream of fear struck in his throat. The hopelessness of night he felt so heavy, as was recalled a dreadful dream in which he poked the eyes of this now dead rabbit. The cold of sweat covered his whole face, for the rabbit realized with doom that a dream was not what had returned to him, but a piece of memory forgotten erstwhile. He looked the black of skies with tears. Despair took him by great surprise, for he was murderer of his own kind. His soul was lost in darkness never ending. Now knew he can turn back not ever, so he ran away with such an unseen pace that all the breath left his fragile body, and with no choice he had to cease. He found himself now in the start of the forest covered all in shadows, where stayed hidden in the birth of screams, he believed, the sacred kingdom of the rabbits. Amid quiet steps he went ahead, around the cross streams of the first trees. The forest all fell silent to his beating heart, and then he felt again the horror. As he walked with almost lifeless speed, he saw there by the dark green leaves yet another cold remains of rabbit, hanging dead from the ugly tree. His shouting fear was beyond imagination, for now a dream had visited him again. He knew he hit with stone the rabbit, and doubtless hang him off the tree. How could he live his life now? The rabbit asked in desperate tears, and with eyes closed into his hands, he tried to outrun the memories, the fears. The rabbit ran in rapid speed through trees until he fell off stumbling on the dirt, and then the terror bade him whole as he saw another lifeless body. Covered all in dirt-wet leaves, lay there yet another unknown rabbit. The rusted knife still stuck out of his chest, reminding him unwilling of something. The lonely rabbit of the valley knew. One night he stabbed his victim many times, in cold blood and without a glimpse of hesitation. With eyes all red of madness, he then laughed. What could he do except to run now, for he knew no other rabbit lived, through the shadows of the sorrowful forest, chased by all the awful crimes he did. The creature raced, devoured of breath, when he saw what he had craved, just beneath the close dark bushes, waiting the rabbit hole without an end. His heart pumped streams of salvation as he hastened to the sacred place. Down there, with a humble knowledge, he saw another strangled body. He knew the corpses here were too, and all that mind was full of sorrow, so he uncovered a being of carcass, hidden dead under the parched dead leaves. Another thought he had to bear now, of how he beat that hare to death, with fists as heavy as the night upon him. He hid the poor thing to its end. The lonely rabbit, filled now with regrets, turned to his so long lost salvation. As a heart that called down from the hole, He threw himself in darkness never ending, and so he fell into the dark of deep. The air felt so heavy of his crimes. His mind screamed on him the horror of why he always was alone. He felt on ground without his expectation. The weight of dirt saved him from the fall. As his eyes got used to darkness, he knew he was no more alone. The souls of all were here to haunt him. A scream got stuck into his throat. Escape was not part of his options. He had to pay for his horror crimes. He screamed and prayed without an answer. His terror went to bounds unheard as they gathered all around him, bloodthirsty to see him in the dirt.